Alright, good morning. This is my HLT 43 Modern Western Literature oral presentation. Uh, I'm going to talk about how Iago uses Machiavellian tactics to manipulate others in the play Othello. My name is Charles and my surname is Nrefu. Okay, let's begin. First of all, I'm going to do a little bit of introduction to the play Othello. The play Othello was written by William Shakespeare. Who actually is William Shakespeare? William Shakespeare is an English playwright, poet, and an actor. He had three different careers. Number one, playwright, two, poet, and three, an actor. He was the greatest writer in the English language. He was called the Bard of Avon. According to his performance in his time, he was nicknamed as the Bard of Avon. He was born in Stratford upon Avon in England, 1564. He was one of the linguistic influential person. He influenced many individuals through his writing and plays and poems he composed. Othello is one of his leading tragedy. The play Othello and the main character is called Othello himself. He was a black general in Venetian army. He secretly marries Desdemona, daughter of a Venetian senate. Othello was a black person, so Venetian people they don't like black people to marry to some of their daughter or sons. They don't marry to a black because they are different race and they don't. It's out of their law. So when Othello and Desdemona secretly married, they they some of the rumors went to Desdemona's father's ears. So they against it. They don't like this marriage and they try to divorce them apart. When Othello was in Venice, he was promoted and one of his colleagues, Iago, was jealous of him. When Iago was jealous of him, Iago craft lies to Othello that his wife has secret lover, which is a lover that is of her own race, which is a white person. Therefore, Othello started to hate his wife and later he choked her to death. When Iago's wife went into the room and saw the death of Desdemona, she cried aloud and then she exposed and admitted the truth about Iago. And then in the end, Iago was arrested and tortured. But Othello was remained with a regretful heart. Okay, moving on to next slide. In the play, the person Iago was actually applying and using some of Niccolo Machiavelli tactics. So Niccolo Machiavelli, who actually he is, we are going to find out. Okay, Niccolo Machiavelli is an Italian diplomat, historian, and philosopher based in Florence. He had three different caps, like as in William Shakespeare. He is similar to William Shakespeare, but their statues are different. Number one, the first title of Niccolo Machiavelli was diplomat, historian, and philosopher. The three caps that he wear. Niccolo was widely regarded as the father of modern political science because this person he usually go against the government or the ruling power in the country and he talk on behalf of right and honest politics. He talk and fight against the government for the righteousness of his people and himself. Okay, one of his famous work was The Prince exposed or he published in 1513. The Prince was a manual on how to acquire and maintain political power. The Prince contains three key ideas. The end justify the means. This idea states that whenever it's necessary to be a leader must become bad and good at the same time. Whenever it requires good to achieve bad, then a leader should cope up with whatever the situation gives. For example, a leader can lie for the he can lie and convince other people or the government on behalf of his people, and that's what it means and justify the means. And the second idea, the fear versus love, and this idea means that it should be every everyone should be feared instead of love, because love comes with conditions and fear will remain forever. It means that. Okay, the third idea, the fox and the lion. Sometimes it is good to be uh, it is good to be undermined or undervalued, underestimated, than to be put on the or then to be put or then to be praised. And this sentence simply means that it is good to be underestimated than to be praised or look up as someone. Okay, moving on. From 1448 to 1512, he was served as a high-ranking official in Florentine Republic. That's one of his career in when he was in Florence. In 1512, Republic was ended when Medici family returned and Machiavelli was dismissed and imprisoned. Republic was ended, and then when Machiavelli was exposed as a father of Republic, and when he applied Republic in the system, they arrested him and then imprisoned him. Machiavelli viewed manipulation not as a wise but as a strategic necessity for maintaining state stability. When he came across manipulation through his lifetime, he never take it as a obstacle that can pull him down without achieving what is right for his people and himself. Therefore, look he accept those manipulation as a stepping stone and as a direction giver, and then he move on to what is right to him and the people. Okay, moving on to the next slide. Okay, definition of Machiavellian traits. Some of the words that are actively applied in Machiavellian traits are manipulation, lack of morality, and strategic thinking. Manipulation. Definition of manipulation is simple: using strategy, deception, and social influence to control others for your own betterment. The definition is clear and straightforward. Lack of morality refers to a calculated goal and a moral approach to interpersonal relationship. This lack of morality, it means that someone don't have the quality of maintaining his or identity and become a real person who shows true self regarding what is right. Strategic thinking, the ability to maintain a long-term goal-oriented perspective while treating social interaction as a series of calculated moves on a chessboard. Strategic thinking means that you should develop, if you want to achieve something in your life, develop many different thoughts about ways and how you are going to achieve those dreams and goals that you are having in your minds. Therefore, from there it can guide you and direct you to your goals and dreams. Okay, moving on to next slide. Yeah, all right. Now we are going to find out who Iago really is in the play Othello. Introduction to Iago. The main antagonist in William Shakespeare tragedy was Iago. He is a Machiavellian manipulator in the play. He acted as a honest but calm, jealous Valens in the play. After being passed over for promotion in favor of Michael Cassio, he developed revenge against Othello. He was nicknamed Honest Diego. Why they nicknamed him as Honest Diego? Because people see him as a honest and trustworthy person when he walk around through his behavior, through his speaking, talking ability. And then people they refer to him as an honest person. He uses name. He becomes a religious person in that time in the play. Othello views Iago as his most loyal comrade, while Iago views Othello as an object for distraction. Othello he saw Iago as a trustworthy person who will be on his side at every time, but without knowing his mindset, Iago has developed many jealous thoughts regarding Othello, so he is a master manipulator in the play. Okay, moving on to the next slide. It's every person Iago in the play, every moves he makes, he has different motives, and his motives are different from Othello and other characters in the play. Okay, Iago's motives are hidden under his honest and loyal behaviors, attitudes, and appearance. Some of his notable motives are professional resentment, sexual jealousy, racial and social envy. Professional resentment. Iago jealous. Iago develops motives regarding the overlooked when he was dropped and they gave the general position to Othello. From there, he developed the motive to attack Othello without attack Othello in every corner of his act. Sexual jealousy. Uh, Iago suspected that Othello once slept with his wife when he was away. So from there, he developed some bad motives to revenge against this act without evidence or proof of this thought. Racial and social envy. He developed motives based on this racial and social envy because Othello was a black person and he was not belong to their society, and he was from different race. Therefore, Iago knows that when he manipulates Othello, easily he will give up his position to the Venetian people back. So when Iago tries to manipulate and destroy Othello, he based on racial and social envy, some of his motives. Right, moving on to next slide. Okay, manipulation of Rodrigo. Manipulation of Rodrigo by Iago. Iago uses him as his first and his primary tool for destabilizing Othello. Manipulation of Rodrigo from Iago. It was financial exploitation, weaponizing jealousy, strategic provocation, and the riot. I am not what I am. Financial exploitation. The master manipulator Iago. He convinced, and he lied to Rodrigo that Desdemona money is the key way that you can win Desdemona from Othello, and she will become your lover. And then Rodrigo thought that it was true, and he was trying. And then Iago told Rodrigo that you give me money, and then I'll become a middleman and bring your money to her, and then tell her that Rodrigo gave it to you. And then he lied to Rodrigo, and then Rodrigo thought that it was true, so he gave most of the money to Iago, but Iago did not go and give it to Desdemona, so the money was disappeared among himself. That's financial exploitation. And then weaponizing jealousy. Iago jealous of Othello, and he find ways to distract and destroy his general position. Therefore, he weaponized jealousy against this, and at the same time, Desdemona was the beautiful lady, and most of the most of the men there, they fall in love with her. So Othello was the fortunate one to marry Desdemona. So Iago become jealous of this, and then later he weaponized jealousy against Othello. Strategic provocation is he make any possible ways, he find any possible ways to attack Othello by using every characters and anything possible for him. The riot happens in the play when Othello gave alcohol to Rodrigo, and then later he gave alcohol to sorry, he make Rodrigo drunk, and then he told him, "You are going to fight with Michael Cassio." And then he forced Rodrigo to fight with Michael Cassio, and then they erupt a war. They were fighting, and Othello, the general there came, and then he stopped the fight and he fired Michael Cassio. That's the real aim or motive of Othello, to make Michael Cassio become fired. So he achieved one of his motive. And then I am not what I am. This statement applies to Rodrigo. Rodrigo, when he found out that all the things and all the instruction given by Iago was a lie, and then he sat down and then he said, "I am not what I am. I am not a tool or puppet or something, and then someone will use me like a brainless person." So he sat down and then he evaluated himself, and from there he become different person. Okay, moving on to next, the manipulation of Cassio by Iago. The first one, the drinking trap. The second manipulation, using Cassio's virtues against him. Third manipulation, the handkerchief and the ocular probe. The drinking trap. Actually, Michael Cassio, he never drank alcohol. He never drank alcohol, but with the jealous motive of Iago, he forced Michael Cassio to be drunk, and then he told him that you are going to dance with Othello's wife, Desdemona. And then Michael Cassio was thinking that it was true. And actually, Iago told Michael Cassio that Desdemona request to dance with you, and then Michael Cassio thought that it was true, and then he got drunk. He went straight to Desdemona and then whispered to her, saying something, and they were dancing. That's the drinking trap from Iago, and then the using of virtues against him. Michael Cassio has a good reputation that he never drank, he never involved in any alcoholic activity and this, but Iago uses his virtues like good behaviors and good side of Cassio to distract him. And then the handkerchief and the ocular proof. This one is when Desdemona left his handkerchief left the handkerchief in the room, and when she went out, Iago's wife brought this handkerchief again to her husband, and then Iago got this handkerchief and then bring it straight to Michael Cassio's room and put it there. Why he did this? Because he have a different motive. He know that he will trick and con Othello about this thing, so he went ahead and placed this handkerchief in Cassio's room. Okay, moving on to the next slide. Manipulation of Othello part 1. Okay, the manipulation of Othello by Iago. The first manipulation, the infection of the mind. At the first place, when Othello and Iago was having some conversation, Iago raise a raise a false story and false information to Othello by affecting his mindset, and said that he said that Cassio was trying to date your wife Desdemona, and then from there, this phrase they were having secret conversation. When Iago told Othello like this, this information just really infected the mind of Othello. And then the second manipulation, exploiting cultural outer status. Well, Iago know that Othello was a black person, so he is an outsider. Therefore, he can manipulate him, and he will be easily caught and removed from the general position. So when Iago was trying his best, he based on the outsider status. Okay, moving on to the manipulation of Othello, the last one, emotional and physical breakdown. Without reasoning things properly and finding possible ways, Othello was emotionally and physically break down because himself killed his wife without the proper evidence. Okay, moving on to the next slide. Manipulation of Othello Part 2, the handkerchief and the demanding for ocular proof. The handkerchief, as I've said earlier, the Iago provides visual evidence by leaving it in Cassio's possession. The handkerchief. This handkerchief is belonged to Othello when dating with Desdemona. He gave it to Desdemona, but when Desdemona left this handkerchief in her room and went outside, the wife of Iago brought this handkerchief again to his husband, and then Iago know that he will use this handkerchief as a killer proof, so as a visible proof, so he brought this handkerchief to the room of Michael Cassio and leaving it there. Later they found out, and then this tell Othello just just makes his mindset out of control because of all the lies and false information given by Iago about Desdemona and Michael Cassio. The second manipulation, the demanding of ocular proof, the dream of Iago of Cassio talking about Desdemona. One time when Othello and Iago were talking, Iago crafted a lie, made a made a false dream story about Cassio and Desdemona were talking, and then he just support his dream and say that this one goes in line with what where they were drinking. Sorry, this dream goes in line with the earlier information that he infected his mindset. So this just make Othello out of control, and if Othello feels like same speed, Othello feels like killing Desdemona same speed, but he was very angry about her. Okay, moving on to the next slide. Use of deception and appearance. The honest Iago. He has an excellent reputation that all characters refer to him as a honest and trustworthy person. He uses true and most reliable statements to reinforces and strengthen his false appearance. He weaponized truth. The mask of Janus, god of Roman god. The mask of Janus. This one is Iago uses the name of the Roman god to make his statements become true and strong when talking to someone. Okay, moving on to the next slide. Lack of morality. Iago, who functions as a moral vacuum and uses other characters' virtues to manipulate them. The corruption of the hero. Justice versus murder. The loss of civilization. Institutional and social immorality. Racial, the objectification of women. The corruption of the hero. justice versus murder. When in the first place Iago infected Othello with false information, there were no justice at all to find out and to make proof or make evidence about his statements and his information. Therefore, it was murder. Othello without good evidence and proof, Othello was murder. The loss of civilization. From there, he lost his home, lost his position as a general, and then Othello become as a outsider. Institutional and social immorality, racism, the objectification of women. The country Venice was a racist country. Therefore, when Othello became general, there were too many racism on him. The objectification of women. They treat women as their housewife. They don't give freedom to them, and they leave them look after their home, cleaning, and then they become as a housewife. Moving on to next slide. Consequences of Iago's actions. Iago's actions leads to tragic death of Desdemona, Rodrigo, Emilia, and Othello. Rodrigo was killed by Iago himself when they were planning to kill Michael Cassio, but their plan was not successful, and then Iago knew that he will leak out the information, so he stabbed Rodrigo to death. And then Desdemona was killed by Othello. Othello, without good and proper evidence of the information spread or told by Iago, he killed his faithful and loyal wife in his room. And Emilia was stabbed by his own husband Iago because of spreading the truth about himself. Consequences of Iago's action: physical and social racism, Othello's downfall, Cassio's disgrace and destruction of trust, Iago's final fate. All in all, Iago becomes the master manipulator in the play, but after all, they found out that he was the person who is in charge of every problems that occur in the play, and they got arrested him, tortured him, and he vowed in silence. Why? Moving on to next slide. Why Iago is a perfect Machiavellian villain? The strategic use of virtues, crafting a persona, weaponizing trust. This is because he strategically uses virtues by crafting a persona, weaponizing trust, and then mastery of human nature, Othello's insecurity, Cassio's pride, Rodrigo's lust. He targets before he manipulates the characters in the play. He targets their most clear position. Like Othello, he targets his insecurity because of he's an outsider, a black person. He targets this area, and then he tried to manipulate him. And Cassio, his pride as a right hand man or something in the army. And then Rodrigo, this last, he is a wealthy person. And then later he found out that I am not what I am. So he tried to change himself to become a real person. Moving on to the last slide. To conclude, the destructive power of jealousy and manipulation, which can corrupt even the most loving relationship. From the play, we can see that jealousy can bring the separation and can cause harm to a beautiful and loving relationship. From the play, the characters who were being manipulated were fully read from right to wrong. All of them lack resonance skills. All of the characters that were involved in the play, they don't reason out things, and they don't try to evaluate which direction Iago comes in and talk to them, but all of them, they just follow what Iago was saying, and then they became really manipulated. Always be prepared to face challenges when becoming success in life or when getting what you had deserved. When you become successful, always be prepared to face the good and bad challenges. It won't be easy when becoming success in life. Some of the duties will be high and then some of the challenges will be very tough. But you will have to prepare yourself to target and tackle those challenges and duties or whatever that comes across your way. Sometimes people cover their lies with a close, reliable truth to betray a person. Therefore, always be ready to evaluate and reason out things before taking an action. When you, like for instance, in that play, Othello doesn't think about doing a good and proper eyewitnessing of the two lovers talking, but he just had the story that they were talking secretly. So the phrase they were talking differently affects his mindset, and then he he was out of control, and he murdered his sorry he murdered his loyal and faithful wife. So sometimes it is good to sit down, reason out things, and then know the truth about something to happen, and then you take an action. All right, thank you. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your time. Thank you.